nobody wanted her. Not the family who found her shivering behind their garage, not the neighbors who saw her and turned away, not even the shelter, which was already overflowing with kittens nobody had time for. She was small, smaller than she should have been at her age, with a tabby coat matted from weeks outside and eyes that flinched at every sound. They told me later that when they first picked her up, she didn't cry, she didn't fight, she just went completely still, like her body had learned that stillness was the only thing that kept her safe. No hissing, no scratching, nothing that would have made her easy to remember. Just a small, quiet animal who had already decided that expecting anything good was a mistake she wasn't going to make twice. Kittens like that don't get chosen quickly. People walk past the loud ones, the playful ones, the ones who paw at the cage bars and demand attention. They walk right past the ones sitting still in the back, the ones who've already learned to take up as little space as possible. She was exactly that kind of kitten, the kind that gets overlooked day after day, until overlooked starts to feel permanent. I didn't know any of that when I brought her home. All I knew was that a friend had sent me a photo of a kitten nobody could place, and something about her face stopped me mid-scroll. 3 days later, she was in my apartment, sitting in the farthest corner of the room, as far from me as the walls would allow. For the first 2 days, she didn't come near me at all. She wouldn't eat while I was in the room. She wouldn't use the litter box if she thought I was watching. At night, I'd hear her moving around, quiet little footsteps across the floor, and by morning, she'd be back in her corner like nothing had happened. I put out food. I put out toys. I put out a soft blanket folded exactly the way the shelter said she liked it. She looked at all of it like it might be a trap. On the third night, I sat down on the floor a few feet away from her corner, not reaching, not calling her name, just sitting there, doing nothing, letting the silence be normal instead of something to survive. She watched me for almost 20 minutes without moving. Then, so slowly I almost missed it, she took one step forward. I want you to understand what that step cost her. Everything she'd learned in her short life told her that hands meant danger, that people meant leaving, that getting close to something warm usually ended in losing it. And yet, she took that step anyway. Hey, if you're the kind of person who stops scrolling for a story like this one, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It genuinely helps more than you know, and it means I get to keep bringing you kittens like her. It took another full week before she let me touch her. Not pet her, just touch her. One finger against the top of her head while she stayed frozen, deciding in real time whether this was a mistake. She didn't purr, she didn't lean in, she just allowed it, which for a kitten like her was its own kind of miracle. Then, one evening, everything changed. I was sitting on the couch, hand resting near the edge of the blanket, not even thinking about her. She climbed up beside me, something she'd never done before, and before I could react, she took my finger gently between her teeth and licked it once, then again. Small, deliberate licks, like she was testing whether this was something she was allowed to want. I didn't move. I barely breathed. I just watched this tiny animal who had spent her whole life learning not to trust anything, choose in that exact moment to trust me. That lick on my finger became the beginning of everything. After that night, something in her seemed to loosen. She started following me from room to room, not clinging, just close enough to keep me in sight. She discovered that the blanket on the armchair was the warmest spot in the apartment and claimed it as hers within a day. She figured out the sound of the treat bag from 2 rooms away, and she started doing something I hadn't expected at all. She started reaching for me. Not just accepting touch anymore, asking for it. She'd stretch one small paw toward my hand and rest it there, claws sheathed, eyes half closed, like she was making sure I hadn't gone anywhere. If I moved my hand even an inch, she'd stretch further to follow it. It became her signature, the thing she did instead of meowing, instead of climbing into my lap the way other kittens do. She reached. Every single day, she reached. Watching her do that never stopped meaning something, because I knew what that paw had been through before it learned it was safe to reach for anything at all. That same paw had once pulled back from every hand that came near it. Now it was the thing she led with, the first part of her that trusted the world before the rest of her caught up. Friends who visited couldn't believe the change. I'd show them old photos from her first week, that hunched, frozen little shape pressed into the corner, and they'd ask if it was really the same cat. It was hard to believe myself some days. Trust like that doesn't usually get rebuilt this fast, but she wasn't following a schedule. She was just finally safe enough to stop bracing for the next bad thing. A month in, she was a completely different animal than the one who'd frozen in my hallway. She played with the confidence of a kitten who trusted the world wasn't going to take the toy away mid-game. She slept stretched out fully across the blanket instead of curled into the smallest shape possible. She'd fall asleep mid-lick, tongue still on my finger, too comfortable to finish the thought. But there were still nights when the old fear came back. A door slamming too hard, a stranger's voice outside. She'd bolt for her corner, and for a few minutes it was like none of it had happened, like she was back behind that garage, small and alone and waiting for something terrible. I learned not to rush those moments. I'd sit near her corner the same way I had on that third night, saying nothing, asking for nothing, just being present until she remembered on her own that this wasn't that place anymore. And every time she came back a little faster than the time before. Some stories don't need a dramatic rescue to matter. Nobody pulled her from a burning building, nobody found her starving on the side of a highway. She was just a small, forgotten kitten that almost nobody wanted, learning one cautious paw at a time that safety was something she was finally allowed to have. I think about that first lick on my finger more than I probably should. Out of everything she could have done, hiding, running, staying frozen forever, she chose that. She chose me. A kitten with every reason not to trust anyone decided on her own terms, in her own time, that I was worth the risk. If you're thinking about adopting a kitten like her, please remember this. They don't always come to you loud. Some of them come quiet, cautious, testing every inch of ground before they trust it holds. Give them the time. Sit in the silence with them. Let them decide when to take that first step and when to finally reach out and touch your hand like it's the safest place in the world. Because it becomes the safest place in the world for both of you. So here's what I keep wondering. Do you think animals like her remember what they came from, even after they've healed? Or does love eventually erase it completely? Tell me what you think in the comments.